Hey, a warm welcome for everybody tuning in from home, maybe in a later time or right at this very moment. Also, a warm welcome for our guest speakers here and also for our public here live at Pakhuis de Zwijger in Amsterdam, where in September we will have a city where you can explore all little and also hidden gems of the design community here in Amsterdam on a bike for 4 days. So on the 18th until the 21st of September, you should be here in Amsterdam to discover the world of design. But not only the world of design, because as the organization of Glue Amsterdam, Connected by Design, also invited five curators to invite some more unexpected designers, sometimes artists, maybe some craftsmen, and we call them the curated sticky participants. And today we can find out a little bit about these hidden gems. My name is Marcia Simon. Welcome to the third session of Alternatives from the Unexpected. And today we'll have a conversation about what all these unexpected alternatives actually can bring us. So today we talk to Robin Kapitein, we talk to Feddow Claassen, we also talk to Rinke Joosten, but today we will start with Yassine. But maybe I should call you Yassa, or maybe I should call you Grapjas, yeah. Or maybe I should call you a senior ambulance support worker. Maybe I should call you a warrior. Maybe I can call you a content maker, or rather not, maybe an ex-content maker. But what you definitely are is an independent contemporary artist shifting between 3D sculptures and the digital realm, right? Also known as Oumghar. Can I have a warm welcome for Yassine Oumghar? Yassine, how does it feel to hear all those layers that I just announced you with?
Yeah, I would say, kind of nostalgic, because it really shows like my history of changing as a creator. And it's also what I try to embody as an artist, that it's not just one thing that I do and am, that I'm just, that's more than one title.
And in what way did all those different perspectives shape you as an artist, as the artist that you are today?
I would say it's more like, it gave me a broader view on the world, on how I should create, on how I should bring out a message, how my art should also transform with the time, with me as a person. Yeah, that would be my answer to that question.
So you were born in Amsterdam once, you were raised somewhere else maybe, but now you are really living and working here in Amsterdam. Yeah. And you choose deliberately to really become an independent artist. And at a certain moment in time, about 5 years ago, I think, you had this idea, I need an alter ego. Yeah. I need something else beside me, next to me, in front of me, to express who I am. Why? Can you maybe take us back to that moment that you first came up with this idea?
I came up with the idea because I saw, as I was like doom scrolling through like social media.
Doom scrolling.
And getting like all these inspirational quotes, like some stuck to me, which were like, a big one that I heard was, if you don't stand for anything, you don't fall for anything either. Okay. And I'm someone who doesn't really like to be opinionated, give his opinion about stuff where I'm not really an expert on. But because of that quote, because of like not choosing or standing for a certain topic or a position, as it says in the quote, you're falling for nothing. So to make it easier for myself to express my beliefs and my positioning, I created this alter ego which would do it for me. Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, we can look at it right there. the name is Oumghar.
Yeah.
Is it female, male? Does it have some kind of gender? How do you feel about that?
Not really. It depends. It's like yeah. It depends on what's the subject. It's talking about at the point of the.
You say
of
it.
itself.
Yeah, you say it.
It's an it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an it. Okay. Hey, and maybe can you also take us back to the moment that you thought the name should be Oumghar? Because I mean, if you have a baby, for example, you think of all kinds of names, I can imagine. Or was it very clear?
Yeah, it wasn't really that deep. It was really because my artist name is Yassa, which is like just a calling name of Yassine. That what my friends called me, and when I thought about it, it's like a reshaped form of my name. So for the character, I just reshaped my last name. And that's it. So there was not a too deep meaning behind it.
Now we look at this pink puppet, for example. Pink Oumghar, let's call it. I don't know.
Like
does it have a different name when it has a different shape?
Yeah, because the sculptures each are like a different, have a different story. So I would say it's the title and then between parentheses, Oumghar.
Okay.
So this is Oumghar, and it's about being. And that it's okay to be without participation, and being in the moment but inactively. So being happy to just be here on this planet, and just being okay with it, being content with just being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in what way does that contribute to you as a person in life?
I would say something anecdotal would be that if I would, when I was younger, would like to go to a party, and I was fine with just being there, standing there, enjoying the experience, not talking too much, and then people would come up to me, "Are you having fun?" Or like, because I was just being. And I was like, fine, I'm having fun, but yeah, and I think that should be okay. But then people were like, no, come with us, talk with us, and I'm like, no, I was fine with just being.
And I'm just trying to imagine you in your studio crafting this puppet. I mean, because this is also a 3D sculpture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you make several ones of them, or?
Yeah, it started as an art toy of like 20 centimeters tall.
Yeah.
And my most recent version of Oumghar is a 1 meter version of the same sculpture. Yeah. This one that you're seeing right now is called Zen, Oumghar in parentheses. And this is like the opposite of like just inactively being. This is about being proactively being, like meditating and being in the moment actively. So it's like the same topic but like the active version. And I wouldn't say there would be a specific conversation when I'm working. It's I get an idea, a topic that I want to explore, and then I try to visualize it with first like starting to sketch. From sketch I go to 3D. And then if I think, then I'm going to think about the medium. Sometimes I want to keep it as a digital piece. And sometimes I want to work it out as a physical sculpture.
Yeah. And in the pictures we also see some exhibitions where people can really see those sculptures.
Yeah.
Do you then talk to visitors? You have a vernissage, for example, and how do they respond to your work? Do you find that important, for example?
Yeah, for me the most important part is people actually having their own view on the like the visual part. Like I like people to first look at the work, then think what they think it means and what they feel with it, what it brings up as thoughts, feelings, and then read my description. And my opinion about having really deep descriptions or deep meanings of these works is that what I at least say when people want me to have a really big explanation of what it is, I would say like if I was really good at expressing this in words, I would have been a writer and not a visual artist. So I'm expressing this visually
This is my
because
language.
this is
Yeah.
the way I am trying to tell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and maybe take us back to a moment where the work was first exposed. Of course, then many people come because you also invite your friends, your family, your loving crowd. What is the first conversation that comes to your mind that you had with people experiencing your work for the first time?
Could you reiterate the question?
Yeah,
Because
so you had your conversations on, for example, your first exhibition.
Yeah.
What kind of conversations did you have there?
Really different. Were per each person, because like one of my now I just lost the word.
In Dutch, maybe?
Series of works is the Seven Deadly Sins, which all are depicted by a statue of a golden woman, which you could see in the slide of the expo.
Yeah.
Some people were a little bit shocked of, oh, this is pretty like nude. Others were really about the little sculpture, like what does it
There
mean?
we see it on the wall, right?
Yeah. And asking why it's like a demon type of figure. It's like really different experiences for people. Yeah. What
did that mean for you? How did you respond actually to those questions?
I'm like, that's why I'm trying to express myself in this way and trying to initiate a type of feeling. So I had a feeling, okay, it's working.
Yeah.
So, but I also because I do want to transform also with this type of experience. So I would say, because I've had these conversations, Oumghar might be transforming in the near future. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Will we see Oumghar?
Maybe.
during Glue?
Yeah. You will. Yeah.
And may I ask, if Oumghar was here?
Yeah.
And Oumghar could dream out loud, what kind of change would Oumghar want to see in the world right now? What if Oumghar could change one thing? What would it be?
End child hunger. Yeah. That would be a thing, if I could choose one. Yeah.
And in what way could Oumghar make a change in that direction?
I would say trying to activate people to do the most they can. Yeah.
Will you use Oumghar also for that? If that's the first thing that comes to mind, you speak from your heart, out in the open, you think you will get Oumghar to work? One of the topics I also try to depict. Yeah.
Sadly, any time is a time where you can make works about war.
Yeah.
Because it's always in the zeitgeist, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be making more works about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you, when you started creating Oumghar, also think of these topics as the main topics that were probably?
Not really. No. Oumghar wasn't really the main. It was really close to me, as in opinion, what happens close here. I would say just nationally. Not too wide, and my other works where I would go further, but maybe Oumghar will be traveling.
Maybe Oumghar will be traveling.
And he will have more opinions about the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for this first getting to know you and Oumghar. I'm looking forward to seeing Oumghar during Glue. Now, somebody who seems to develop her career from a very strong basic trust, navigating between arts and crafts, design and art, maybe a future master of ceramics, a master of glass. Rinke, Joosten, warm welcome for Rinke. Yeah, we all have this life path, and then in the end, now you're sitting here and you are an artist, announced as an artist. But in your case, let's go back to St. Lucas. That's where you studied first, but you actually got there in quite a particular way, right? Maybe just bring us back to those moments or weeks before.
Well, when I was younger, I always wanted to be a vet because I have a very special bond with animals.
Yeah.
And then I had this internship at my high school, and then I just fainted, slept back on the floor, and then I woke up and I was like, oh my God, did I faint? And they were like, yes. And then my whole dream collapsed because it was like really resonating with me to work with animals globally, maybe in the Netherlands. And then I thought, well, yeah, let's see what I can sort of study with the degree that I get or gonna get when I graduate. And then I went to like 13 or 15 kind of schools, and then eventually I went to St. Lucas. And as a kid, I was quite creative, I think, but it was not necessarily on top of maybe more on the background than on like a higher level. And when I entered that building, it was really like this
lightning strikes.
Yeah.
Thunder.
Yeah. Now, not necessarily lightning striking, but really like this feeling that it resonated. I didn't know how in particular, but then...
How old were you back then?
16, 15.
Yeah.
So quite younger than I am now. But yeah, and then eventually I did a degree in craftsmanship. So in the first year, you have different kinds of craftsmanships. So ceramics, leather, shoe, bag making, stained glass window making, which I really liked as well. But then eventually I thought, I'm going to do leather because it felt like a very raw material, but then eventually it wasn't really like resonating with me as a person. And then I fell really for ceramics. But then glass was always in the back of my mind, like tingling, being there. But then ceramics took a little bit over. Yeah.
Well, let's not jump already to your work right now, because what I found very remarkable is your process, actually. So for me, the word process really belongs to you, and not only to your work right now, but also to who you are and how you are developing your career and your work. Because you told me that after St. Lucas, you started working at EKWC, among others, and you actually worked at a very remarkable exhibition, which was The Ghost of Sunday Morning. Could you tell us what this exhibition was about?
So after I graduated my ceramic degree there at St. Lucas, I worked at the EKWC, which is called the European Ceramic Work Center in Oosterwijk. And people from all over the world come there to work with ceramics. So you don't necessarily have to be a ceramicist to make work there. You can be a artist or like a painter or like a glass sculptor, or it can be very broad. And with that exhibition, the staff, so I was part of the staff back then, not necessarily a participant like doing an in-house residential period. We did an exhibition that was very centered about very big names that came there to do their ceramic work, but it was all made in the same type of clay, the same type of measurements, the same type of finishing and glaze, which was very interesting because, for example, you had the work of Tony Gregg, which is quite famous. A famous work of his is at the central station in Nijmegen. And his work became so small. And then other work from Anish Kapoor was very big. So it was very interesting to see how that navigated this size, figures, finishing with different kinds of artists.
Yeah. And this was in a design museum, Den Bosch, I believe. And there you encountered actually already some heroes.
Yeah.
What did that taught you? What did that bring you to already meet these kinds of people, being able to really dive into their work and their personalities? How did that shape you?
Well, I think it was very interesting for me because back then I was still quite young. I think I was around 20
Yeah.
when I worked there, and like you hear such big names in the art and design industry in this world where people really made it, and that I could work with my fellow staff members on these pieces that they made one time at the EKWC was very interesting for me. And it was also very interesting to see for me that the people that went there, that didn't have the knowledge yet, like this embodied knowledge that maybe craftspeople possess, like maybe Robin, besides me, and maybe me, I hope I do, that they really navigated through this material with a new, broader perspective. And that's a sort of that I learned that you don't need to pinpoint always like this material or the process, and you really need to navigate with an open mindset and really have this dance with me as a maker and the material as a medium.
Yeah. How come that you have this, for me it feels when I'm talking to you as well, it feels like you have this very clear compass where you are navigating with. How come you have that feeling of basic trust that you can really indeed faint and then realize, okay, maybe this is not for me, and let's not get too disappointed, I just move on, and then, actually this is a beautiful exhibition, or these are heroes, but we stay calm, we continue, and then we even go to our school, you go to Rotterdam, WDKA, you went, and studied product design there, but you stayed close to yourself, still in ceramics. How come you have that feeling of basic trust?
Oh, yeah. I think it's really me as a person. I'm very down to earth. I'm very open. I'm very talkative. Like, I know I have 10 minutes, but I can fill hours.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's really, for me, very interesting because what I talked to you on the phone about a little bit is that as a ceramicist and a craftswoman and a maker, and then really navigating myself through a certain material, it's really like this relationship, like this sort of intimacy where we as people, not necessarily craftspeople, but also like people that make audio or video, or you can name everything, it's very personal. And for me, I think that I sort of have this like very strict compass, as you're talking about, is because I really trust me in a certain medium, and I don't want to like, what I do is that I really do interventions, and I don't want to press or like push one material or like a certain context in one corner, but I really see and look and feel and really embody that sort of momentum, like this moment of creating, then like really fixing on the end product. So for me, the end product for myself is always the process. And then some people would say that I make an end product, but I would say I make an embodiment of the process.
Yeah, that's very beautifully said. When we are talking together, I really hear sometimes you are talking from the more archetype craftswoman, and then we are talking to really the archetype artist, and then we are talking to indeed a product designer, because in the end the product is there.
Yeah.
And you shift between those types very easily. In the pictures we see how you work. It's beautiful to see you also in that moment. Maybe you can tell us what's happening in the pictures. In what way do you work?
Yeah, well, for me, like ceramics is really my medium, my own medium, and I already work with it, I think, around 11 years now. But sometimes when you're practicing in a craft, it's kind of hard to find all the tools and knowledge to do different kinds of crafts. I know because Robin, besides me, does like glass stained window making, which is also a very difficult thing to do. So I work alongside other people in the crafts industry to really navigate my own ideas and mediums or concepts through different kinds of techniques as well. So here you can see me, Ger Bulet, which is a glassblower, master glassblower in Leerdam, and Selma Hamstra, which is also a glassblower in Rotterdam. I work a lot with other people together to make, like, for example, these glass objects, because if I would want to do this, I'm learning 20 years and then have a very strong basic. And then after that, you will continue learning even more. And then for me, it's so much more interesting to work together with people that really are very taught into the skill. And Gert is like this amazing guy who practiced this craft already since he's 15 years old. So I really look up to him. And I'm very grateful as well that I could work there and like we can like work alongside one another to make these objects together.
Yeah. I really see you glow when you talk about
I really
that you are working. I can imagine the energy you have right there. I believe we are looking at you working on Momentum, a project, right? Is that also something we will see in September?
Yeah.
Okay, so Momentum, as I heard, is an ongoing project where you're really getting to know the material, finding out your own technique, something that you're developing yourself. Maybe just in one sentence for us, what is Momentum about?
I think Momentum, it's hard to explain in one sentence.
I know.
So Momentum is like a collection of objects where there's a dance going on between me as a maker and the medium of ceramics and glass. So there's sort of like this symbiotic interplay between ceramic and glass, because I make from my hands, through my hands, I make these molds in plastic clay, which is sort of called when the clay is still flexible. And then eventually the glass is blown directly into it, which is kind of strange because it's like getting a lot of thermoshock. It's very complicated kind of force that goes like into these ceramic cold mold parts. But then I work together with these glass blowers to really navigate through our knowledge, like this embodied knowledge between different craft techniques to really make these collections or objects around Momentum.
Hey, fast forward. What if there were no limits in budget, in material, in time, in people to meet? What kind of project would you work on? Would you? I can imagine for Oumghar to grow immensely, for example. But for you, it can go anywhere still.
Yeah, it's like it's very interesting with this project or like this concept around Momentum. It's like ceramics and glass combined in a certain way, because the ceramic imprint is visible in the glass objects that are blown, of course. But I know, because in ceramics you have also like these restrictions that you sort of know when you do this it's getting harder, or when you do this it's very hard navigating through the material itself. But when I think about what you're saying now, I'm very interested in what would happen if I make a very, very, very extravagant big Momentum, because it's a different kinds of force that's gonna happen than when you make smaller work, of course. So
well, for everybody at the table also here in the space, think of this question. What if there were no limits? Not in budget, not in material, not in the people you can invite, come over, no spatial limits. What would you do? Just keep that question in mind, and we'll get back to that. So during Glue in September, we'll probably see Momentum. Will we also see you at work, or is that not possible?
At work, on the spot, I think is hard.
But Selma did that once during the Dutch Design Week, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I can navigate through my network to maybe see what's possible. But but maybe otherwise I'm always having people over if they want to see and invite them. So
Okay, we'll definitely come and visit. Let's get to our third guest, who isn't really an archetypal designer or artist himself, nor did he have a familiar path towards where he is right now. But you are obsessed about archetypal and well-known things such as Billy, IKEA closet.
Sorry.
Can we first of all get a warm welcome for Feddow Claassen? Now, in your case, let's not go back to when you were still working with photography, but let's get to the core of your work right now. If you could choose one project that represents the core of your work right now, which one would you choose?
I was already thinking, but Maybe a very big Billy, like a building.
A very big Billy?
Yeah. 10 stories high or something.
And what would that represent?
Something pointless, Billy. Just the general principle of a bookcase.
Just Billy?
That's what it is, yeah.
How many stories again? High? You said something...
No, it should be... my God, I don't even know. 1, 2, 3, 4...
Yeah, you know the Billy by heart
I don't.
now, right?
No. Because I also don't know who designed it.
Who doesn't know the Billy IKEA?
Billy IKEA.
Yeah, you don't... Oh, we have somebody who doesn't know Billy yet. Who's Billy?
It was sold like every 5 seconds, one is sold. It's a bookcase. It's like a bookcase. No. People don't like it, but...
Some people don't like it.
Some people don't like it.
Yeah, you are obsessed about it.
Not really obsessed. It's just like the... I stopped doing design because I got tired of reinventing things. So then I got obsessed with something that is not invented at all. It's just...
In a way, yeah.
It's just the basics of a bookcase and nothing else.
Yeah.
It's not
But
beautiful,
for the people...
nor ugly. It's the... If God had created a bookcase, it would have been Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the people watching at home, Billy, of course, is Claassen from IKEA, and bookcase. Sorry. What Feddow is talking about is that he was working as an artist designer, trying to.
Yeah.
Why? Oh God!
No, I'm just seeing myself.
Okay, and that's.
I didn't expect it.
You didn't expect.
No.
Okay, but you were working, trying to reinvent yourself, always trying to be original, and I think that's something that resonates with many designers, right? That we always want to be original, and that people also expect us to be original. And you said, "I'm going to stop."
Yeah.
Doing that.
I'm not trying to be original at all. No.
Well, why is it important for you to say that?
Because it doesn't work. I have a lot of things on the shelf I started with, and then I find out someone else was doing that too, and then you have to stop. So I was a bit sick of that. And then I got not really obsessed, but then I found Billy very interesting because nobody loves the design, and nobody hates it because it's just, you cannot hate it because it is what it is. It has the 3 aspects of a bookcase. It has the shelves to put books on, it has 2 sides to hold those shelves, and it has a back side because you cannot expect to have a wall. So it's perfect.
So you were...
No, I use it for artworks. You see me here tell a story about creation and destruction, and if I would have used a beautiful bookcase made by Eames or something, people would react different. They would say like, "Oh, he destroys a very expensive bookcase. Oh, nice colors, and why did you do that?"
And how do people
here,
respond
nobody says anything. Now I'm burning one, and people think like, "Oh, what does that mean? Does it mean burning books? Does it mean if you burn like a very expensive Charlotte Perriand bookcase? People say like that thing costs $1 million. Why did you do that?" And her story, but this has no story. So it's like one of the things I use. I also use like balls, like a tennis ball, and it takes a very long time to find an object that I find really neutral. So Billy is one. I was actually looking for a chair, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, is it difficult?
Because you always find something like, why is this?
Yeah.
Why can you stack them? It's not a chair.
Hey, and what you also mentioned is that how do you say, the booklet of IKEA, of the Billy booklet, how do you say it? The manual, actually?
Well, the catalog is the most printed book in the world.
The catalog
is the most printed book in the world, so it makes it a bit biblical, religious, and I find it very interesting too. I'm not religious, but I do find religion in other things interesting. And
are these kinds of philosophical thoughts, thinking, also, I think you're telling us a lot of numbers, one every 5 seconds. So it's
but I think that changed now because I got rid of most of my books the last 10 years. So, and people are not buying books anymore, so it's a bookcase. So I'm really wondering what's happening because it was the most sold piece of furniture of all time. But I think that is ending now, slowly.
But are these thoughts, are these the starting points of your project? And I mean, the Billy is of course an ongoing project.
I don't know. It just interests me. The reason I stopped doing, when I was doing photography, I did fashion, and then I realized that I had to talk about fashion on parties and stuff, and then I quit because I could not.
You recognize that?
Yeah,
I could not. I would say things like, who invented fashion, you know? Was it like 10,000 years ago, some like that lion skin doesn't look good on you? And people were just like, they wanted to talk about whatever. Ishimiyaki, Prada, and I had nothing, absolutely nothing to say about it. And it's the same with design. I really have nothing to say about design. Because I don't find it interesting. I mean, I find a bookcase interesting, but it's more on a meta level.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
world
general
around
principle
it, the context.
of what it is. And after that comes design.
But may I ask that? I mean, your work, I imagine it being at Pan Amsterdam, or to be in a gallery, or maybe at somebody's house somewhere. Is
Other
it?
things, not this.
No?
No.
Where is it?
But it's in Amsterdam now. The Golden Record is in Amsterdam, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's one piece.
Yeah.
But I meant, so what happens if people see your pieces? I mean, what do
No,
they
when I
bring
made
home?
that thing, it took a very long time. It cost a lot of money, and I made it the way NASA made it in the 70s. They sent.
You're talking
records.
about the golden plate now.
Yeah, that's a very important
yeah?
thing for me. I mean, that whole story was when I was a kid. I was amazed by it that they sent a message into space for eternity that would outlive us, because the NASA records it will last for like 4 billion years.
Yeah.
Mine 100 million years, so that's not, you know, but it's also long, you know.
Yeah, it's
Definitely
quite
not going to be there. So I like that. It's very comforting, that idea that, you know, that there is a manual to make a Billy for, yeah, if that alien has eyes to see it, you know, but...
maybe, I mean, you make digital work, if I pronounce it right. Do you ever also feel, oh, maybe I should also use the digital realm to express my thoughts and to indeed work with NASA in a way to make it forever?
No, they laughed, but they did not really understand that I was serious about sending it into space.
You did have contact with them?
No, the European, what was it, space? Yeah. But they thought, they thought it was funny. But it's not only funny. It's just
it's not
because they
funny.
did send one into space, and it was 50 years ago. And if you read the message, it's also goofy. It's hello in 54 languages. So what is an alien gonna think? Does not even speak English, and you get 54 times hello. So
What does Oumghar think of this?
It thinks somewhere in the future, far away, people are really gonna get a Billy religion because they found.
I'd like to have and continue this philosophical conversation with you. But I'm going to ask you one last question. What if you had no limits? What kind of project would you make? I mean, it cannot be Billy related.
no, maybe I don't know.
You need time to think about it?
No, probably I would just, I think I wanted to do something with like, I don't know, something with 1,000 Billies or something.
Oh, again, Billy.
Like something big, yeah.
You're sticking to your plan.
Yeah, stupid.
Yes,
Yeah.
stick
No,
with
but it's a
discipline.
building block for me. It's not
I understand.
the Billy itself. I don't have one at home. I
You
have
don't?
in my studio.
I
In bars
imagine
and
just
stuff.
this whole house being built from.
Hell no, it's ugly. No, but I find it interesting to work with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you and Billy. It's time to introduce you to our last speaker. Indeed, born and raised in Amsterdam, North. Also inspired, I think, by some of Amsterdam's cultural heritage, which he encountered when he was still a house painter. But he thought, well, this classical shape, maybe I can do something with it. And now he's a self-taught contemporary stained glass artist. Please, a warm welcome also for Robin Kapitein. What I didn't do with the rest of the people is first look at the work. And I think your work is actually quite straightforward. It's stained glass and it has all kinds of stories, all kinds of pictures and shapes. But you actually taught yourself a particular Tiffany technique. Maybe for the people who don't know that much about Tiffany technique, can you explain us in 1-2 sentences what this technique is about?
Well, it's a different kind of technique derived from stained glass, but I think it's a more modern technique and it's more decorative. I think stained glass, they don't exactly know how long it exists. But Tiffany was invented around like late 1800s, so it's not even 150 years old. But there's only small differences between the more traditional stained glass technique and Tiffany.
Yeah. And while, I mean, you were painting in houses and you saw all these more classical shapes and ways, and you got interested. What sparked you?
To be honest, I've always been creative, and I wanted to do something more creative next to painting. And then I just basically had a look around, like what's around me, and I had to treat stained glass as something special because I couldn't drop my bucket of paint on it or my sanding machine go over it. So then, it kind of grew for a long time, and then eventually I was like, you know what, maybe I can find out how I can do something more modern with it, and see how it goes. It was a very slow, it took years for me to kind of get there.
Yeah, you say it's slow, but it's not that long ago.
No, I mean,
how long ago did you...
I find a couple of years slow.
Long.
Yeah, to be able for it to spark interest.
Yeah, but I find it quite remarkable that you're on your job and you get fascinated, and then you are at home, more like a hobbyist, start to experiment with this new technique and this new material, and then in the end you think, oh, actually, I'm becoming a real craftsman. I'm trying to really master this technique and this material, and in the end, only a couple of years later, you say, okay, I actually am a stained glass artist. And then you get invited, and then you get invited by Volkshotel to expose your work in the windows. And then there's a museum in Amsterdam, a Grachtenmuseum, that says, "Hey, let's do a solo exhibition." And here we are. How does that feel to really say, "Yes, I am an artist"?
A bit overwhelming, but sometimes I really still have to slap myself, like, oh yeah.
And do you do that, is. Or do people like me do?
Yeah, most of these people like you.
Yeah.
So every now and then I run into someone and they're so enthusiastic, like sometimes even like more than me, it seems. And then they're like, can't just believe like you're actually doing what you want, what you're passionate about, and you make a living out of it and everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, actually.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's still a weird thing for me. So, yeah.
Hey, and what are you working on right now?
I'm doing a couple of bigger projects. Well, bigger windows, really. One for a new bar in the Westerstraat. I'm doing a couple of I don't know how to say the English word though, but bovenlichten, like above doors.
Okay, yeah.
For in a house. I'm doing a light box for like a building company. All very random, but all has the same. Yeah, not same end product, but all is stained glass. Yeah.
And when do you feel, yes, this is something that I really enjoy doing. This is really a project of my dreams. Or when do you get that feeling?
Most of the time, really, but definitely, like I always do my own sketches. It doesn't matter how, what the client or anybody says. If it's a commission project, obviously, they can give me as many images as they want, but I'm still gonna come up with my own sketch and give it Robin.
And then how does that work for you? So you have this conversation. I mean, I think to me, it seems like you're very open to be inspired by anything, so also by the client, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when does the magic happen? When do you start to shape this image in your head?
Well, like you said, I do often get inspired by stuff that I do for clients, and then I take something from that and I throw it into my own work. But what was the question again?
Well, when does the magic happen? For me, for example, when I prepare, I'm crafting conversations and I'm talking to people. I do my homework, but at a certain moment when I'm in the shower, having this conversation already with you, that's actually where it really happens. That's where my creative process really. Now you think I'm a lunatic, probably standing in the shower preparing my conversation. But for me,
to be honest, it's pretty much the same for me. It's always the moments that I truly have to myself. So, for instance, like you said, the shower, or
driving,
or standing in an elevator. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where I can actually, where it can click sometimes.
Yeah. Do you build in these moments for you in your creative process?
That's pretty hard because, I cannot really, how do you say this? Cannot really start the creative process. Like sometimes it's there for a couple of days, and then I know I have to put everything on the how do you say it, back burner, and then I will just create and draw and stuff, and then when that's over, then I'll go back to whatever.
To whatever.
To whatever I had going on.
Hey, and is it for you the work that you do? I mean, you found a spark there. You got fascinated. Do you find it important that other people also realize what this craft is all about? And
yeah, slowly I've began to appreciate that, or like made it sort of my almost mission to kind of show stained glass in a way, like in a more modern way, and like show that it's not a like dying craft, if you can say it like that.
Okay, so dream out loud then. I already asked that question to everybody.
Yeah.
No, but this is your chance, right? People are watching.
Yeah.
You can
I
use
definitely,
this.
I just want to do bigger stuff.
Would you collaborate with another artist?
I've collaborated with a lot of artists, so I'm definitely always open to that. But yeah, like I said, public spaces and bigger stuff. Like sometimes I think the biggest stuff that I've done now is like 1 by 1 or something, and that is also kind of the maximum what you can do with stained glass, because otherwise it gets too wobbly.
So you need to.
So you need to build a bigger frame where you can put in multiple windows. I mean, I would build my own, I don't know, could be anything, my own fully stained glass, how do you say this, like a hortus. And I don't know, it could be a place where people meet. It could be anything. Just like
so you actually said it, right? You made it quite concrete. You'd like to build a new hortus botanicus somewhere in Amsterdam. Could be nice. Or would it be somewhere else in the world?
No, Amsterdam would be good. Great. Let's do it in Noord as well. Yeah.
Let's do it where you can see it every day.
Yes, next to my house.
Yeah. And what kind of events would take place there? Let's bring it to life.
I mean, like I said, a place where people could meet, doing whatever. But I mean, it could be a workspace. Could be, I could teach my workshops there. It could be all for me. It could be my workspace. No, but
let's think bigger. You're on a mission here.
Well,
right?
My studio is now in like a bigger like sort of warehouse where a lot of creatives do so many different things. So that would be, and I like that so much, the idea of that it could be a really big warehouse where multiple artists or craftsmen can do their thing, whatever.
Yeah. Could there be a Billy?
There could be 1,000 Billies in there if you want to.
It doesn't have to.
We'll create a Billy corner.
Well, what I find really nice is that at this table we have 4 people, 4 individuals who really found their own passion for a certain shape. You finding your alter ego and really, I don't know, expressing the things that live within you. So you found your way there. You found your material. You also found your technique. You have your fascination, and you dared to be obsessed about it and to keep mentioning disability as important as the Bible, for example. But what I find very interesting is that right now we live in quite an interesting time, where we see all these geopolitical shifts going on, where people are talking about designers saving the world. We are the change makers. We are the new heroes. But you stay very close to your process, believing in your own fascinations, where small changes actually matter, right? Finding a place. And Glue is creating a space where you can show your work. What does it mean for you that people like David, like Janine, like Guus, like Anne, like Elina are creating this space for you to show your work and to talk about your work? What does that mean to you?
Well, for me, it's what you're saying. It's an opportunity, a chance that mostly doesn't present itself, because there's a door you have to get into, and now there's like an open door, and given a chance, the Glue is holding the door open for us.
Yeah.
So I would say that it's an amazing opportunity to be able to show our works on a great scale, on a higher level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for you, I can imagine. I also saw on your Instagram, you must be also thinking about Gaza, for example. In what way do you balance between being in your studio and then this intense reality steps in? How do you balance that?
I wouldn't say that it's 2 separate places.
No.
Because it's not like when if I'm gonna work that it stops.
No. Like you said, war is everywhere all the time.
Sadly, it's all the time. So So no, I wouldn't say there's a difference between when I'm working or not.
And if I ask you at the table, in what way do you hope to contribute to people's lives out there, without really wanting you to say that you make a change? But I mean, of course, you have met people that saw your work, that got enthusiastic about your work, or maybe were touched, or indeed sparked, or laughed, or what are you hoping that you're contributing to the main public with your work?
Well, definitely showing more stained glass to everybody. Like I said, it's sort of my...
That's really your mission.
Yeah, that's why I'm also happy with Glue giving me that opportunity. Kind of supporting my...
Yeah, of course.
My mission to show more stained glass, and even in the design world.
Yeah. And you, Rinke?
Well, I think I contribute a little bit to Robin's idea regarding like exploring craft as my own medium, but then also navigating it through the audience. And then for me, I think it's also personal, because my grandpa was a weaver, and it really taught me that he has his own language with his own medium, like textile. And I think it's very interesting to talk about materials in a way that they're also living beings, because I think it's sort of also in a way it is. And like start a conversation about what Robin also said, that we really need to participate in this world, that we don't need to get lost in more like digital is also very interesting and very forth-bringing, of course, but then also the craft, it's really like the strong basis of where it all began at a certain point.
Close to us as humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes us human, maybe.
Yeah, so I hope when I contribute with glue and with new work, that I can talk with people, really engage in this conversation between digital and craft, but also how we navigate through that, and yeah, to have a very open conversation about it.
Yeah, very nice. And where you, in the beginning, said, I really stopped making new things and really be extraordinary and all these things.
It was not to save the environment, but
No, exactly. But did you see that shift go? Because you've been in this world the longest among us, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, you are. But did you see a
70s.
shift? Did you see a shift there?
Huh?
Did you see the shift happen?
I see so many shifts. I find it very interesting, but I see a lot of shifts. Yeah.
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 And
And
how?
also that's why I don't believe in things like, we go this way, oh, that's fantastic, it's going to end forever. My daughter said something about buying stuff from Vinted and whatever, but it's only because in the 60s and 70s, we were very interested in the 60s and 70s vintage. Clothes were made better. People had less money, so they kept all the clothes. But in the future, like 30 years from now, it's going to be completely different. They're not going to collect things from this time because everything is disposable or being destroyed. So times change. So what's happening now and what's positive is not going to be, doesn't have to be in the future the same.
Yeah. So we will probably end this session with Bob Dylan then. Times they are changing.
Yeah, the times they are changing. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Is that okay for you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Except the 80s are a problem. But
The 80s are a
yeah.
problem. Why are the 80s
I don't know.
a
I
problem?
could not deal with that.
No?
No. Everything went wrong.
Maybe you should write it on a golden plate and send it into outer space.
80s.
Delete the
It's
80s.
on the backside, yes.
Oh, it's on the backside. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to say goodbye to our viewers at home. We are looking forward to meet you. I hope we can have and continue a conversation right here. But a big thank you also for Stimuleringsfonds and AFCA to make these kinds of conversations happen. And see you in September at Glue, Connected by Design in Amsterdam. Thank you for watching.